Alright mate, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of IMO. Now all 32 nations taking part in this summer's World Cup have confirmed and submitted their 23-man squads. We've already talked about the England squad. I reacted to that a little while back. It was announced quite early. Now it's time to react to all the other squads, talk about some of the surprise inclusions and some of the shock omissions from this summer's World Cup. Let's do it. Yes guys, we're going to talk about some of the big players taking part in this summer's World Cup and some of the big players that won't be there as well. But before we do that, just a bit of a warning for you. At the end of this video, I'm going to be making my World Cup fantasy football team. I'm teaming up with the guys from The Telegraph and I'm going to be playing along with their free-to-play and free-to-enter game where you can win up to £10,000. There's a 25 grand prize pot available. And all you've got to do is pick a starting 11 of World Cup superstars. I'm going to pick my team at the end of this video and there's a link in the description if you want to pick yours. I highly recommend it. Let's crack on. We're going to start off by talking about some of the people that are in the squads. Now, there's not loads of shocks here because traditionally you're expecting good players to be in the squads, but there's some that we maybe thought wouldn't make it that have. First of all, panic averted. Mo Salah is there. Despite the shoulder injury he sustained after Ramos's little MMA tackle, Salah is good. He's going to play. He's going to be for Egypt. He hopefully will start the first game. I think he's going to recover because a World Cup without Mo Salah would be a lot less fun. So I'm happy he's there. And imagine if Egypt get out of the groups and there's a little bit of a rematch between Salah and Ramos. That I would pay to see. Let's move from Group A to Group C. Tim Cahill of Australia is back. 38 years young. I mean, you can't imagine Australia without Tim Cahill. But let's just take a moment to appreciate this guy has been smashing it for Australia for this long. And let's be honest, if Australia do anything at this tournament, I'm confident Tim Cahill will be at the heart of it. I like him as a player, despite the fact he now plays for Millwall, who are like big rivals with my club West Ham. I can get over that for this World Cup because Tim Cahill is a ledge. Very good in the air, despite the fact he's not the tallest. I was looking forward to seeing what he can do for the Socceroos. One of the most interesting inclusions of players at this World Cup has got to be the Peruvian striker Paolo Guerrero, okay? He is the leading all-time goal scorer for Peru and their captain, but he very nearly didn't make it. You know why? Well, he's currently suspended because he was found guilty of taking drugs. Last year, he was found guilty of using cocaine, which is, yes, a recreational drug as opposed to a sport-enhancing drug, but it's still against the rules. However, his 14-month ban has been temporarily lifted so he can take part in the World Cup. Controversial, perhaps. What's really interesting as well is one of the reasons it was lifted is he actually got the captains of the other teams in Peru's group to send letters to the Court of Arbitration for Sport asking on his behalf for him to be allowed to play. That's good sportsmanship. The captains of France, Australia and Denmark all sent signed letters on behalf of Guerrero. Now, he's going to be not very match fit. He's been banned for a number of months. He has only started playing again in their friendlies now. Whether he's going to start, I don't know, but he's their leading goal scorer, 34 goals for Peru. He's also 34 years old. It's going to be an interesting story, even if he comes off the bench. And finally, another inclusion worth talking about, Manuel Neuer. Obviously, you can't imagine Germany without Manuel Neuer. He, for many years in the last decade, has been the best goalkeeper in the world, but he's been very, very injured this last season. He's barely played. I think he just played 3 league games for Bayern Munich this year. But he is the Germany captain, and he's got fit in time for the World Cup. They've left goalkeepers like Leno at home so they can take Neuer, and they'll probably start Neuer. Barcelona's ter Stegen will not be played. I expect Neuer to play. And goalkeeping is a hard position to come back in from the cold, you know. He could have an error in this World Cup. I mean, he is Manuel Neuer. I expect him to do well, and he'll be looking at what De Gea has done over the last few years and saying, hang on, I want to be considered the best goalkeeper in the world again. Not you, you little Spanish mug. I don't know if he'd have called De Gea a mug or not. That's a loose translation. But he will be looking to make a return to his old ways, and he could be the spearhead of another German World Cup winning performance. I could see it happening. Overall, I'm very glad that Neuer is going to be at the World Cup, and I'll be very interested to see how he does with not a lot of match practice. So we've talked about some of the big names that are going to be at the World Cup. Let's talk about some of the big names that aren't going to be there. Obviously, there's a load of people who play for countries that didn't qualify, the likes of Buffon and Chiellini from Italy, Sanchez from Chile, the whole Netherlands team. None of them are going to be there, but that happens every tournament. There's always shock surprises of teams that don't qualify. Likewise, there's players that got injured that couldn't take part. Nicholas Bentner, he's not going to be at the World Cup. Denmark are going to have to play without God up front, you know. It's going to be difficult. Would he have had a massive impact on the tournament? No. But Bentner is banter, isn't he? He's almost got half the same letters in his name. I would have liked to see Bentner there. It's not going to happen. He's injured. Also, something that's just happened very recently is Manuel Lanzini, one of my favourite players to watch from West Ham, was in the Argentina squad, but he's just done his cruciate ligaments in training. which not only means he's out the Argentina squad, he's probably going to miss most of next season for West Ham. This is a demoraliser. Whether he would have started for Argentina is probably unlikely, but I think he could have done bits for them off the bench. I think it's a big loss for Argentina. It's a massive loss for West Ham, and I'm personally gutted. But let's talk about the people who weren't injured and their country did qualify, but they weren't picked. There are some unbelievable omissions in this World Cup. Carrying on with Argentina, this is how good their attacking options are. They've not gone with Icardi. Now, as I'm filming this, I don't know who they're pulling in to replace Lanzini, and he's obviously more of an attacking midfielder, whereas Icardi is a striker. Could this be an opportunity to bring Icardi back into the mix? I don't know what they're going to do, but it shows you how deep their attacking options are, that they didn't choose Icardi, who scored 29 goals in the Serie A last season. Top quality striker. Didn't make the squad. Obviously, they've got Messi, they've got Aguero, they've got Higuain. Okay, they've got options. I get it. They almost didn't take Dybala, you know. Dybala wasn't in a few squads leading up to the World Cup. He is going. He's seen as someone that's very similar to Messi. So it's whether you can play them both together. But if Messi gets injured, Dybala is the obvious person to bring in. Anyway, they've got Dybala. They haven't got Icardi. They haven't got Lanzini now. But really, it's their defence you want to worry about of Argentina. We know what their attack can do. Can their defence hold off? They got to the World Cup final last time. Only lost in extra time. Could they go one further? I'm not sure. But I'll save that for my World Cup predictions video coming soon. Let's move across South America and go to Brazil. They've left some unbelievable players out. David Luiz, okay, not everyone's favourite defender. Had a mare when they got smashed by Germany in the last World Cup. He was captaining that game. He's not gone in. He's not been ever present for Chelsea this year. Not the worst decision. But what's amazing is they left out Alex Sandro. Some people would say this guy's one of the best left backs in the world right now. Playing for Juventus, one of the best teams in the world. Most clubs would take Alex Sandro as their starting left back. Most nations would take him, even as a left wing back or a left midfielder. They prefer Felipe Luiz. Okay, they've got Marcelo as well. They've got a lot of left back options in Brazil. But to not take him in the squad, I think it's mental. I think it's crazy. And you know what's also crazy? Not taking Fabinho, okay? Just moving from Monaco to Liverpool. This guy can play right back and centre mid. Versatility is key in a World Cup in a 23-man squad. I don't get it. I don't understand why they're not taking Fabinho either. And I think these decisions could come back to bite Brazil because they've got so much attacking flair going forward, just like Argentina. You know, they've got Neymar, they've got Firmino, they've got Coutinho, they've got Gabriel Jesus. Loads of players. But the defence is always questionable. And they could have used some big players in there they've not taken. And let's talk about Belgium, right? They didn't take Benteke. Can't really blame him for that. He's not the player that we thought he was going to be a few years ago. They've got Lukaku. But they didn't take Raja Nainggolan. What are you smoking, Roberto Martinez, who's the manager, of course, of Belgium? Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's some suggestions that he might rub some people up the wrong way. There could be a personality clash there. But I was there at the Euros when Nainggolan scored a screamer against Wales. What a goal that was. This guy's got that in his locker. One of Roma's best players. Roma had a very good Champions League run. Not taking Nainggolan is tantamount to vandalism. Okay, Fellaini's in there, Nainggolan should be in there. I don't not like Fellaini, I actually rate Fellaini, but Nainggolan is twice the player. Could that come back to bite Belgium? It could, you know, it really could. He's also retired from international football now, which is a real loss. He could have had another Euros in him, maybe even another World Cup in him, but we might never see him play for Belgium again. Shame, real shame. But perhaps the two most talked about countries in terms of high profile omissions are Spain and France, particularly Spanish Chelsea players, right? No Morata, no Fabregas, no Marcos Alonso, no Pedro either. If you're Spanish and you're playing for Chelsea, you'd be pretty gutted right now, unless, of course, your name is Cesar Azpilicueta, in which case you're very happy because you're in the squad, and that's a good decision. Now, I get why they didn't take Fabregas. They've got a lot of players in that position. He's not as good as he was probably last World Cup, but he can do bits. I understand why they didn't take Morata. He had a good start to the season. He died off a bit, missed a lot of chances, has been carrying an injury all year as well. But Marcos Alonso, I think, is a good option to take. One of the best attacking fullbacks out there, I think. Jordi Alba is obviously their first choice. But why not give him a little spot in the squad? Is it going to hurt you? Ultimately, though, they've got such a good squad, Spain, you can't really complain. They also didn't take Bellerin, okay? What's Bellerin thinking from Arsenal? Because not only did he not make the World Cup squad, Arsenal have just signed a right-back in Lichtsteiner from Juventus, who, yeah, is getting a bit older, he's 34, but he's going to give Bellerin some serious competition next season, unless Bellerin is leaving, of course. So some big players not in the Spain squad, but some even bigger players not in the France squad. No Benzema starting off. Now, that's maybe politically motivated. He had this whole controversy at the last Euros, which meant he didn't get included there, and I'm not sure he's allowed to play for France anymore. I don't know what's happening, but scored in the Champions League final. Real Madrid, consistent player, big omission. Lacazette from Arsenal, not there. Martial from Man United has struggled with game time this season, but everyone knows what he can do. He's not going. No Laporte from Man City. Dimitri Payet got injured in the Europa League final. He won't be there. This is how strong the France squad is, that they're still considered one of the favourites for this tournament. Haven't got any of those players there. Let's face it, the French B team with those players and the likes of maybe Koscielny, who's injured, and I don't know, Kondogbia, Coman also didn't get picked. They'd probably beat the England team. I think they would. But perhaps the biggest omission of the whole lot, and the one that really just makes me baffled, to be honest, is the fact that Germany have not taken Leroy Sané. I don't get it. One of the best players in the Premier League this year, young player of the year. In total, he got 14 goals and 19 assists across all competitions for Man City this year. Double figures for both goals and assists. That's not that common. And they've taken Julian Brandt. They've taken Marco Reus, who I like as players, don't get me wrong, but Marco Reus has missed a lot of football this year for injury, and he's hardly played for the international team for the last few years. And Julian Brandt, whilst he's a very strong up-and-coming talent, has not done anything close to what Leroy Sané's done this year. 12 goals, 7 assists. It's not bad, but it's not Sané. And as for Marco Reus, he's played just 15 times this season, 7 goals, 1 assist. I know why they've done it, and they've got a certain policy, Germany, and who are we and who am I to question it, because they're the World Cup champions. They have like a long-term relationship between players and the national team. They don't always take into consideration club form. They're looking heavily at things like the Confederations Cup last year, which they used a lot of young players, including Julian Brandt, and they did well. But for me to ignore such a strong season from Leroy Sané, it's criminal, guys. I don't think it's right. I feel very sorry for him, because what more could he have done? What did he need to get? 30 goals and 20 assists to be considered? Come on. I think it doesn't motivate players when you don't recognise that sort of contribution. And don't get me wrong, Germany could still easily win this World Cup, but Sané should be there. I reckon a lot of you agree with me as well, but if you don't, or you do, let me know in the comments below. Now then though, it is time for me to talk you through my Telegraph fantasy football team for this World Cup. I've had a long think about it. I think I've got a good one. The key things you need to know about it are it's free to play. You can win £10,000 if you win the whole thing. You've got a £50 million budget to pick 11 outfield players. You can change formation. I'm going to go over 3-4-3 personally. You get unlimited transfers before the tournament begins. Then during the group stage, you can do up to 26 transfers. Then there's another transfer embargo between the group stage and the knockout rounds. Then you get another 20 transfers to use before the tournament finishes. Obviously, you've got to make your team and submit it before the World Cup begins next Thursday, the 14th of June. And you get points for all the classic things such as appearances, goals, assists, clean sheets, etc. Should we take a look at my team? Let's do it. First thing you'll notice is I've actually got 0.1 million left, okay? I'm doing things cleverly. I'm not overspending. Hugo Lloris is going in goal for me. Not the most expensive keeper. I think France will go quite deep into the tournament, though. 3 at the back. Kimmich from Germany. I expect him not only to keep clean sheets, but to contribute going forward. Trippier from England could do the same, but equally, he's very cheap. That's why I've gone with him, and I think he'll start. Marcelo, we know what this guy can do. One of the best attacking fullbacks in the world. He may not score goals, but I reckon he might get assists, and Brazil will do okay. In midfield, keeping with Brazil, I've gone with Coutinho. I think this guy could be one of the big names of this tournament. You know what? I could even see him doing some bits as a potential top goal scorer. Even though he's a midfielder, it's not a bad shout. He just needs to bag 1 hat-trick in 1 game to get up there. Thomas Müller tends to do well at tournaments for Germany. He's a good goal scorer, so I've gone with him. I've also gone with Sadio Mane for the same reasons. He's a goal scorer. He's a big part of the Senegal attack. Will Senegal go that far into the tournament? Maybe not, but I can transfer him out if they get knocked out. And finally, Milinkovic-Savic from Serbia. Hashtag Boris will be very happy with this one as a Lazio fan. 2.5 million is a steal for this guy. And up top, I've got Antoine Griezmann, a very good golden boot shout. He will score goals for France this tournament, I'm sure of it. I had enough money to go with one of the big boys then. I could go with Messi, I could go with Ronaldo. Portugal have got Spain in their group. That could be a difficult game for Portugal. But Argentina have got a slightly easier group, the likes of Croatia, Nigeria and Iceland. I think Messi can pick up some big goals in that group. And finally, I've gone with Hirving Lozano from Mexico. If you play Ultimate Team, you know about this guy. He could set this tournament alight. Yes, he's got to face Germany in the group stage, but also South Korea and Sweden. He could do bits. 3.8 million as well. I'll take it. So that's my team. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is there any big names I should have gone with that I haven't? Have I made some good decisions? Have I made some bad decisions? Who's in your team? Let me know. Make sure if you want to get involved with the Telegraph Fantasy Football, which I highly recommend, there's a link in the description. You just got to click it, go over, sign up, do all that good stuff. I've also made one other team for this video as well. This is a team not at the tournament. There's loads of different options you could go with this one. You could go with people whose countries didn't qualify or who are injured, who didn't get picked. I've gone with an all-round team. There's loads of players I haven't included that are still quality. I've gone with a 4-4-2. In goal, I've got Gianluigi Buffon, who I'd love to have seen this World Cup. Would have been his last one. Could have gone with Oblak in goal. Martial, another great keeper we won't see. In defence, Dani Alves, big shame to be injured for Brazil. He won't be at the tournament. Quality right back, even though he's getting older. In centre back, we've got Chiellini, also like Buffon, won't be playing because Italy didn't qualify. Alaba can play left back, can play centre mid, can play centre back. Austria didn't make it. Alexandro, I still don't understand it. I still don't understand it. Why is he not going? In midfield, Gareth Bale. Obviously, Wales didn't qualify, but what a player. We saw what he could do in the Champions League final. Nangolan, I don't want to talk about that. You know, he should be there. Cesc Fabregas, yeah, I can understand why Spain didn't take him, but still quality. And Leroy Sané, it just doesn't compute to me. And up front, there's so many options of players that aren't going to be the World Cup. I've gone with Aubameyang, quality player, plays for Gabon. He's going to struggle to qualify at a World Cup ever. And Benzema, but you could have thrown Lacazette in there, Martial, Alexis Sanchez, Icardi, so many good players. Who would be in your not at the World Cup 11? Let me know in the comments below. Drop a like on this video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Make sure you click the notification bell. Lots of big World Cup videos coming between now and when it kicks off. And then, of course, I'm taking you with me to Russia. It's going to be interesting. I'll see you when you're older. Until then, don't go changing. Bye-bye.